This is pre-algebra lesson 8.5, scatter plots. Here's all I care that you know about scatter plots, okay? Sometimes you have a graph where they've placed their data, and the data looks like this. You know, this might be the day of the week, you know, or this might be the day of the month, and, you know, over here might be, you know, like number of flies killed in the class, whatever, okay? And so I'm not even going to write down numbers. I'm not even going to write down, you know, like the actual days. I'm just going to show you, you know, this. That in something like this, you know, like it might look like this. Okay, I mean, it might look like that, you know, like it might be getting hotter as we go along, whatever. But, you know, I mean, there's the deal. There's our graph. Make sense? There's our graph. And so what I want you to see here is that if I was to ask you, so how have things been going, you know, like with the fly population, you know, with the fly problem, what would you say? Has there been more or less of a fly problem lately? More, right? How do you know? What makes you see that? So here's the deal. You look at this and you see that, and you see there's a trend here. You can very visibly see that over time it's been going up, right? Here's what you do. You know, yes, you can look at that and go, okay, that would be called a positive trend. Okay? Here's exactly what you do, Lauren, up here. Here's the deal. You're actually going to do your very best to draw what's called a line of fit. You're going to draw what's called a line of fit. And because you're going to try to fit a line as close to every point as you can. So that's impossible to grab all the points, because if you grabbed all the points, would it be a line? No. So you're going to try and put a line here as close to every point as you can. And so you're going to do this.
And it has to be straight?
Yeah, it needs to be a straight line. So you're going to draw a line that is just as close to everything as it can be. Does that make sense? You agree that line is pretty close to, you know, the center of our trend here? That right there, this thing is called a line of fit. That line of fit is going to give you something to look at here. And if I was to say, okay, approximately what's the slope of this trend? You're going to look at the line, you're going to go, okay, let me take a look here. Let me try and find a point on the line here. I would say there's one. Do you agree? And I would say there's one here, right? Or even like there's one here. And so let's do this. Let's go up that many and over that many. Let's see what the trend is. That would be up 5, right? So it's a 5 rise and a run of 9. So, you know, it's roughly a 5-9 slope. What is that pretty close to? A half slope, right? You'd say this is roughly a 1/2 slope. Does that make sense?
About a half of the slope.
Is yours going to be exactly 5/9?
No.
No, right? Because your line might not be exactly like my line. Right? It might be a little bit different. So yours might be 1/2, or yours might be 5/8, or yours might be 4/7. Or you see what I'm saying? Whatever. It's just giving us an idea. Okay? So either way, the main point of this whole thing is that you understand that this trend here, that this graph here has a positive trend or a positive correlation. If they ask you for, you know, what correlation is this, positive, negative, or no correlation, you'll know. Let me give you another one. Let's say we have our graph here like this, and here is our data. Do you see any sort of a trend here? Is there any sort of a pattern where it's either going up or down?
No.
I would say no. This thing's all over the place. And so this would be no correlation. Does that make sense? Correlation. You know, if I had one like this, and it, you know, it did this right here. What do you see as some sort of a pattern here? Do you see what this would be called? Do you think?
Negative.
A negative correlation. Now, what if there's one guy over here? What if there's one guy? he would be considered an outlier. Okay, he's considered an outlier. If there's just one or two stragglers out there, that's fine. You know what I mean? You can ignore him. There's still some sort of a correlation here, just with one dude that's not in there. Does that make sense? So you could still say that that would be a negative correlation, even though there's one that kind of doesn't belong. Make sense? Positive correlation, negative correlation, or no correlation. And you have to be able to, how do I tell what the slope is? If I was to ask you for the slope, what do I do?
You find 2 points.
You find a point or something really close, right? Like you can look here and there's one. You see that guy? He looks like one. And then you look here, oh wait, here's one too. Agreed? So then what would you say that is? First of all, this is a negative correlation, so you know that. So then it would be, what is the rise then? Negative 2, and the run is 3. So the correlation, you'd say this trend or this slope is a negative 2/3 slope, right? Yours is going to be different than mine, right? Because could I have written my line a little bit differently and had it go from like here to here maybe? Sure, it's a little bit different now, right? I mean, that's still near the center, right? Or I could have it go from right here to right there, or I could have it go from right here to right there, or they're all going to be a little bit off, right? No big deal. It should still be roughly the same.
So we have to pick 2 points.
You pick them 2 points that are connected to these little, that are connected to the line crosses, right? Where they actually touch. Anyway, let me see if there's anything else in here you need to do. Okay, you'll be able to figure this out, I'm sure. So let me give you your homework. I told you this was a quick one. It's page 426 to 427, 7 through 15 all. Okay, 13 through 15 is asking you to use data and come up with answers. I know you can do this.